Hey there, everybody over everywhere, but especially in our Facebook group. This is Jen from empathicmastery.com, your fairy godmother for empaths. And I wanted to jump on spontaneously today for two reasons. One was because I received a request in my EFT mentoring group. One of the members is experiencing a headache, and it's what they literally refer to as a horrific headache. It is throbbing, pulsing, and squeezing pain on their right side. And so I figured, what better way to address it than to share an example of how we can use tapping to alleviate other people's pain as well as our own. Surrogate tapping is a really powerful tool when you have permission to do it. And as an empath, the thing is, we often feel better when other people feel better. And so there is something about being able to offer support to people when they ask for it, when they say yes to it. I would say, if you don't have permission, then unless you are a first responder or you are the guardian, the legal guardian of somebody, if they have not said yes, it is, you need to, don't go there, little buckaroo. But if you do have permission, surrogate tapping is something that not only benefits the person who is receiving the tapping, but also really can benefit us as empaths, because it allows us to clear whatever charge we're carrying around about that. The other reason I was jumping on is just because I wanted to acknowledge the fact that sadly we have had, I think it is our 129th mass shooting in the United States, and it's only been 89 days of the year. So, I'm sure that there are probably a lot of us who are feeling bereft or feeling verklempt. I know that, I've been talking to a few different people who are feeling sort of that sense of that rumble underneath their feet prior to this coming, like what's happening, is something on its way, all of those feelings of sadness, all of those feelings of despair. And I would actually venture to say that while on first glance that perhaps the connection between having a horrific headache and this school shooting may not seem related or connected at all, often it seems that as highly sensitive empathic people, we process information in this, through our bodies. So I am wondering if there might be any correlation between the stress of the shooting event and this headache. So when it comes to doing surrogate tapping, bottom line, and surrogate tapping is when you tap on behalf of another person, you tap for them because either they just are not up for doing it, or they're too young to do it, or they are, incapable of doing it for some reason, and you can be of service. And so surrogate tapping, we start, as I mentioned before, one of the first steps with surrogate tapping is getting permission. If somebody has not requested it, you can offer it. If they say yes, then great, you can do it. If they say no, then again, this is where you get to just walk on by and trust that this person has a higher power in their life and you're not it. So that's the first step in surrogate tapping, is permission, consent to do the work. And then the next step in surrogate tapping is to connect with your divine wisdom, to connect with your awareness of that other person, and just making that connection. And one of the things that I really like to do is actually, I will use a pendulum to confirm that I am actually connected. So I'm just looking around to see where my pendulum, you guys don't even want to see what my desk looks like. I'm just going to hold, this is a chaplet, but it will work just as well. So give me a yes, goes back and forth, give me a no, side to side. I am Jennifer, getting a yes. I have permission to do surrogate tapping on A's behalf, yes. I am connected to A. I can surrogate tap for A. I am able to channel the energy for A. And if you want to, you can even become that person, like you are their surrogate. I am A. Alrighty. And so now that we've got that connection and I'm just tuning in, I'm like, on a scale of 0 to 10, how strong does this headache feel? I'm hearing in my head immediately that it's at about an 8 right now. Which it started, I believe, when the information started before, like when they wrote about it, I think it was a 10, but at this point it's dissipated just a little bit. Maybe it's like an 8.5 actually. So it's about an 8.5 right now. And so we're just going to do some tapping. And what I'd love for you to do is, if you're experiencing a headache, you can tap for yourself, but you can also do something where what we can do is you can imagine whatever is your issue, you're just kind of putting it up on the shelf and letting it go. Like just being like, okay, I'm going to do some tapping and I'm going to let this take care of that thing for me. And at the same time that you're doing that, you can be focusing on the needs of that person who has actually requested the support. As with all of my tapping videos, really, you agree to take 100% responsibility of your own process. Don't go places that you don't belong. If I say something and it doesn't quite work for you, change the words to work for you. So even though I have this horrific headache, it is throbbing, pulsing, squeezing pain on the right side of my head. I'm just acknowledging it, and I'm open to the possibility that this will shift. Even though I am experiencing this horrific headache, this throbbing, pulsing, squeezing pain on my right side, it's like an 8.5 right now. It's horrific. I'm just acknowledging it, and I'm open to the possibility that this will shift. Even though I am experiencing this throbbing, pulsing, squeezing pain on my right side, this horrific headache, I'm just acknowledging it, I'm just tapping on it, and I am open to the possibility that this can and will shift. And I'm okay right here, right now. Now we're just going to use the reminder phrase, this horrific headache. Eyebrows, this horrific headache. Side of the eyes, this horrific headache. Under the eyes, this horrific headache. Under the nose, this horrific headache. Under the lip, this horrific headache. Collarbones, this horrific headache. Under the arm, this horrific headache. Top of the head, this horrific headache. Now we're just going to take in a deep breath and let go. And I'm just going to tune in. And I'm getting that the headache has come down by about a point, and where it was at about an 8.5, now it's at about a 7.5. And I get the sense of it where it was throbbing, pulsing, and squeezing. Now it's sort of this dull, throbbing, pulsing tightness. So I don't think it's quite as squeezy. And it's, instead of it being a horrific headache, it's just a horrible headache, is the sense I get. So we're just going to do a little bit more tapping. So even though I still have this horrible headache, and it's this dull, throbbing, pulsing tightness and this pain on my right side, I'm just acknowledging it and open to the possibility that this will shift even more. So even though I am experiencing this throbbing, pulsing, squeezing pain on the right side of my head, and it's kind of dull now. It's tight. It's just this horrible headache. I'm acknowledging it, and I am open to the possibility that this will shift even more, because it's already shifted. So even though I am experiencing this horrible headache, this dull, throbbing, pulsing tightness on the right side of my head, I'm just acknowledging it, just tapping on it, and open to the possibility that this will shift. Okay, we're going to use the description this time instead of the horrible headache. So, top of the head, this dull, throbbing, pulsing, tight pain. This dull, throbbing, pulsing, tight pain. Side of the eyes, this dull, throbbing, pulsing, tight pain. Under the eyes, this dull, throbbing, pulsing, tight pain. Under the nose, this dull, this dull, throbbing, pulsing, tight pain. Under the lip, this dull, throbbing, pulsing, tight pain. Collarbones, this dull, throbbing, pulsing, tight pain. Under the arm, this dull, throbbing, pulsing, tight pain. Back to the top of the head, this dull, throbbing, pulsing, tight pain. Let's just take in a deep breath. And I'm just tuning into that headache again and asking, what is the number now? And I'm actually hearing that it's like between a 5 and a 5.5. So it's kind of like, it's definitely coming down. And it's loosening at this point in time. It's still dull, throbbing. It's still dull and throbbing, but it's not pulsing anymore. And it's where it was squeezing and tight. It feels like it's loosening up. So it's more of a tangle as opposed to loosening up. So we're going to do another round of tapping. So even though I still have a bit of a headache, it is changing. And now it's more of just this dull, throbbing tangle of pain in my head. I'm open to the possibility that this will shift even more, because it already has. So even though I'm still experiencing a bit of a headache, it has shifted. It's come down a lot. It's probably half of what it started as. But it's still this dull, throbbing tangle of pain in my head. Just acknowledging it, just tapping on it, and open to the possibility that this can and will shift even more, because it already has. So even though I am experiencing this dull, throbbing tangle of pain in my head, it has shifted. And so I'm open to the possibility that this can shift even more. It's about half of what it had been. I give myself permission to really let this go. This dull, throbbing tangle of pain. Top of the head. Eyebrows, this dull, throbbing tangle of pain. Side of the eyes, this dull, throbbing tangle of pain. Under the eyes, this dull, throbbing tangle of pain. Under the nose, this dull, throbbing tangle of pain. Under the lip, this dull, throbbing tangle of pain. Collarbone, this dull, throbbing tangle of pain. Under the arm, this dull, throbbing tangle of pain. Let's take in a deep breath. And as I tune in, my sense is that it's coming down to, or it's come down to a 4. One of the things that I have noticed about it is that there's pressure, like I feel this sort of pressure in my, kind of across my eye, my left eye and my sinus. So just noticing it's moving around as well. I'm just going to tune in and see if maybe there is, I'm thinking, one more round of tapping. And just turning it over to the angels to let them do the rest of the work. So even though this headache is less than half of what it started as, there's still a little left. I'm going to give the rest of it to the angels and let them take care of it. So even though there's still a little bit of headache left, feels like it's coming down to a 3 even tapping on it, I'm just going to give the rest of it to the angels and let them take care of it. Even though there's a little bit of headache left, I'm just letting my guides and angels take care of it. And I give myself permission to take care of myself. Any remaining bits of this headache, letting the angels help and heal me. Turning it all over to the angels, I give myself permission to receive support. I give myself permission to let this go. I give myself permission to accept the help of the angels. I give myself permission to welcome divine intercession. I give myself permission to relax. I give myself permission to release this. I turn all of this over to the angels and I let them take care of it. Turn all of this over to the angels and I let them take care of it. Let's take a deep breath. And just with our eyes closed, just taking a moment to really imagine our team of angels just surrounding us, beaming love, light, and healing to all of the parts of us that need support. Just breathing into that calmness and peace, holding that in, and then exhaling that calmness and peace all around us. So that is an example of surrogate tapping. It is an incredibly powerful tool, and I have seen absolute miracles occur as a result of surrogate tapping. Really, really remarkable. And so if you have any questions, hashtag replay, write them in the chat, write them in the comments. And also, if you are interested in learning a lot more about EFT, I have an EFT training that is going to be coming up in a little bit less than a month, starting on Saturday, April 15th. And you can learn more about it over at EFTinstruction.com, where you can learn about like what is involved in this training. It's an 11-week training. It's designed for empaths specifically, and it's really about learning how to use this tool to make a difference in your own life and also in other people's lives. And should you wish to, this is also the first step towards certification as an EFT practitioner, which will allow you to use this as a tool or even as a primary modality in your career toolbox, and where you can actually go out there and do this work professionally. So again, jump on over to EFTinstruction.com if you are feeling called to learn more about EFT. And if you have any questions, hashtag replay in the comments below. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're wondering. And until next time, I'm wishing you peace.